here's what I'm saying. This is from Raw Story. This is just one of many things that has happened with McCarthy lately that we haven't fucking even began to approach. Yeah, how is Cawthorn not in prison? How is McCarthy not in prison too? Like both of them. Seriously, they're fucking scum, dude. So, leaked audio shows Kevin McCarthy singled out Mo Brooks and Matt Gaetz for endangering the security of the lawmakers. Two Republicans in Congress were identified by House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy as creating a security threat for other lawmakers with their effort to overturn the 2020 election. Representative Kevin McCarthy, the House Republican leader, feared in the aftermath of the January 6th attack that several far-right members of Congress would incite violence against other lawmakers, identifying several by name as security risks in private conversations with party leaders. Alex Burns and Jonathan Martin reported for the New York Times. Mr. McCarthy's remarks represent one of the starkest acknowledgments from a Republican leader that the party's rank-and-file lawmakers played a role in stoking violence on January 6, 2021, and posed a threat in the days after the Capitol attack. Good. Finally. Yeah, when are they going to stand up and say something about people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Madison Cawthorn, Josh Hawley, fucking Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, all these people that, were literally directly involved in this shit. Then nothing's going to happen to them. Nothing will happen. You know why? Because we're supposed to be living in a politics of civility, right? And when you live in a politics of civility, there is civility, but it's only for people that are already in office. Fuck the rest of us, right? We don't get that kind of shit. I mean, shit. Some of these people can't even be arrested while Congress is in session if they get DUIs and shit. It's literally illegal to arrest them for that shit. This actually may not be as dumb fuckery as I thought because he's right about it. Two Republicans in Congress were identified by House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy as creating a security threat for other lawmakers with their efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Representative Kevin McCarthy, the House Republican leader, feared in the aftermath of January 6th attack that several far-right members of Congress would incite violence against other lawmakers, identifying several by name as security risks in private conversations with party leaders. Alexander Burns and Jonathan Martin reported for the New York Times. Mr. McCarthy's remarks represent one of the starkest acknowledgments from a Republican leader that the party's rank-and-file lawmakers played a role in stoking the violence on January 6, 2021, and posed a threat in the days after the Capitol attack. The two are the co-authors of the forthcoming book, This Will Not Pass, Trump, Biden, and the Battle for America's Future. Excerpts from the book have provided bombshell details on Trump's coup attempt, and the two can back up their reporting with audio recordings. Here's what I want to say about this, though. They should have been talking about this at the time, not waiting. How many people's lives did they put in jeopardy when they knew about this shit? And in the aftermath, when they're sitting there trying to impeach Trump, how important would this information have been? No, but they held it. They held the fucking information. They held the information for a fucking book deal. They're just as guilty as Trump. There is no fucking difference. They withheld information that would have either prevented this or could have helped to stop some of the shit that continued to happen in the aftermath. But no. It's got to come out in a book that they're going to sell you. These aren't people that fucking care about this country. I'm sorry. They fucking don't. They don't give a fuck. They care about making some money. Even these reporters who are going after Trump and McCarthy and these guys. And I believe that their reporting is a good thing. It's just when you're commodifying it in the way that they are, it's very, very bad. It's bad for society because this is information we need now, and not that we need later on in a book 10 years down the road. We need this information when you get this kind of information. Yeah, file these assholes. Well, I mean, that's the thing. If you're withholding the information, you're just as fucking bad. Even if you're willing to give it up later on, what does that do for anybody in the minute? You know, when the shit's happening, if you know that stuff and you aren't giving that information to people who need it, you know? I mean, you end up you're basically putting a lot of people in danger by not being willing to report on the shit, you know? I think that's a total fucking bunch of bullshit. Silence is violence. In the phone call with the other Republican leaders on January 10th, Mr. McCarthy referred chiefly to two representatives, Matt Gaetz of Florida and Mo Brooks of Alabama, as endangering the security of other lawmakers in the Capitol complex. But he and his allies discussed several other representatives who made comments they saw as offensive or dangerous, including Lauren Boebert of Colorado and Barry Moore of Alabama, the two reported. Mr. Brooks and Mr. Gaetz were the prime offenders in the eyes of the GOP leaders. The two also report Steve Scalise of Louisiana, the House GOP whip, worried Gaetz was breaking the law. It's potentially illegal what he was doing, Scalise said. So as you can see, McCarthy knew that his squad was doing the wrong thing. He knew. He walked out there with it initially and then fucking walked it back as soon as he thought it was going to hurt his relationship with Trump. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. You're not legislating then. You're not doing it because you're not doing your job. You're just trying to get reelected. Those are two different things. I mean, you can do your job and try to get reelected. You can do your job or try to get reelected. But getting reelected is not doing your job. The media is such garbage now. You're right, Ski. And here in his district, there are plenty of Trump flags. Yeah, you know. When are we going to start seeing some people be arrested? When are we going to start seeing charges filed? When are we going to start seeing these people being held accountable for their actions? When are we going to start seeing all the evidence from these people? We're not. I don't think that it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. I want it to. But I think just like everything with politics, you know, it'll get swept under the rug right away, because the truth is that even if they're on opposite sides of the aisle, they're covering for each other because they all have fucking some kind of dirt on each other. You know? And I think that's the bottom line. And that's why we're always perpetually in this predicament of we have this fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Corruption in our government. We have this corruption in our government. We see it. We know about it. It gets investigated. It's out in the open. Everybody sees it and everybody knows about it. But nobody does anything about it. Nobody does a fucking thing. Oh, well, you know, we'll sanction him. Well, we'll do what do they, you know, do in the Congress? Say, what do they call that shit? Where it's basically just them giving them a verbal warning. You're getting a verbal warning for this. No, not impeachment. Censure, there you go. F-bombs for you, nailed it. Censure. What's up, F-bombs for you? But yeah, GOP is all bullshit. convene an urgent meeting on the country's Supreme Security Council after 2 blasts damaged Soviet-era radio masts in the breakaway region of Transnistria. The incidents on Tuesday came after local officials reported several explosions at the state security ministry in the city of Tiraspol at 6 p.m. the day before on a public holiday for the Orthodox Easter. Moldovan authorities are sensitive to any sign of growing tensions in Transnistria, an unrecognized Moscow-backed sliver of land bordering southwestern Ukraine, especially since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. Russia has had troops permanently based in the region since the collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s. Ukraine fears Transnistria could be used as a launch pad for new attacks on its soil. We urge citizens to keep calm and feel safe, Moldovan President Maia Sandu said after a meeting of the National Security Council. Sandu said this was an attempt to escalate tensions and blamed internal differences between various groups in Transnistria that have an interest in destabilizing the situation. She recommended stepped-up patrols and vehicle checks near a buffer zone, with Transnistria tighter public safety measures and security checks on critical infrastructure. So yeah, 2 explosions occurred in the village of Mayak and Grigoriopol. No one was hurt though. But taking out that communication stuff is definitely like strategic. It says that they have further plans. Why would they take out communications hubs? Yeah. Doesn't look like anybody died from what they're saying. Interestingly, no one's claiming responsibility for it, though. So the question is, why? Something like this, you'd think they'd want to claim responsibility for. So I think with that, yeah, that's part of that westward push that I was saying before was going to happen. They don't just want Ukraine. They're going to keep pushing west as far as they possibly can. No question about it to me. Yeah, pretty obvious it was a target softening strike. Take out some communications and security headquarters. Sound like the prelude to invasion. Yep. That's what I'm seeing too. That's exactly what I'm seeing. What's Mark Meadows up to? Newly obtained text messages and recent court filings fill in significant gaps about the key role a little-known Pennsylvania Republican congressman played at almost every turn in scheming to reverse or delay certification of the 2020 election. The texts, which were among those selectively provided by Donald Trump's former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, to the House Select Committee, show Rep. Scott Perry pushing to have the nation's top intelligence official investigate baseless conspiracy theories and working to replace the U.S. Acting Attorney General with an acolyte willing to do Trump's bidding. From an intel friend, DNI needs to task NSA to immediately seize and begin looking for international comms related to Dominion, Perry wrote to Meadows on November 12th, just 5 days after the election was called for Joe Biden. In the text, which has not been previously reported, Perry appears to be urging Meadows to get John Ratcliffe, then Director of National Intelligence, to order the National Security Agency to investigate debunked claims that Dominion voting machines were hacked by China. Perry, a 5-term congressman, is a retired brigadier general with nearly 40 years of military service, including flying combat missions in Iraq. Given this extensive background, he is likely familiar with the inner workings of government intelligence. Wonder if I could dig through the concrete foundation slab under my apartment to build a file bunker. At this point, you might need to. Perry, a 5-term congressman, I read that part. Perry has thus far declined to voluntarily cooperate with the House Select Committee and in a previous statement has called the committee illegitimate. Perry on Tuesday refused to answer several questions from CNN at the Capitol about his text to Meadows. It's unclear whether Meadows responded to Perry's November 12th text. A source familiar with the situation tells CNN that Meadows did not approach Ratcliffe about what Perry was asking. YouTuber Colin Furze has dug a tunnel into his pantry and bunker, so it's technically possible, but legally is a different issue. Yeah, I could see that. Zoning laws and such. Yeah, it might be legally risky for you. Although, if you build it quick enough, they'll never know you're there and you can stop paying rent and let them evict you if you want. Last year, Senate singled out Perry for his role in promoting Trump's election fraud conspiracies. The Meadows text provide new details into his effort behind the scenes. In particular, the text show how Perry, now the head of the House Freedom Caucus, was one of the most vocal advocates for recruiting top government officials to investigate baseless claims of voter fraud. Perry wrote to Meadows again on November 12th, claiming that the Brits orchestrated a conspiracy to manipulate voting machines in the U.S. and that then CIA Director Gina Haspel was helping cover it up. Oh my God, this is fucking great. And Gina is still running around on the Hill covering for the Brits who helped quarterback this entire operation, Perry texted. DNI needs to be tasked to audit their overseas accounts at CIA and their National Endowment for Democracy. This is so fucking funny. More than a month later, Perry texted Meadows a YouTube link detailing another conspiracy theory that votes were changed by Italian satellites. Why can't we just work with the Italian government, Perry wrote. According to the text logs, Meadows does not appear to have responded to the message. Emails released by the Senate Judiciary Committee last year show he did forward the same video link to then Acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen hours later. Rosen subsequently refused to look into the claim further and said he would not be giving any special treatment to Giuliani or any of his witnesses. An email discussion between the acting attorney general and top DOJ officials emails show. Pure insanity, another former DOJ official, Richard Donahue, responded to Rosen about the claim. Yep, pure insanity. We got more news out of Russia. What's this? Oh yeah, I saw this one. Russia to halt gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. Russia energy firm Gazprom has told Poland and Bulgaria it will stop sending gas to two countries from Wednesday. Polish state gas company PGNiG said it had been told all gas deliveries would be halted from 8 their time. The Bulgarian Energy Ministry also said it had been informed deliveries would be suspended from Wednesday. It comes after Russia said unfriendly countries must start paying for gas in rubles or it would cut supplies. Both countries have refused to pay this way. PGNiG relies on Gazprom for the majority of its gas imports and bought 53% of its imports from the Russian company in the first quarter of this year. It described the suspension as a breach of contract, adding that the company would take steps to reinstate the flow of gas. Bulgaria, which relies on Gazprom for more than 90% of its gas supplies, said it had taken steps to find alternative sources, but no restrictions on gas consumption were currently required. The country's energy ministry said Bulgaria had fulfilled its obligations under the contract with Gazprom and made all required payments. It added that the new payment system proposed by Russia was in breach of the existing contract. Oh shit, pregnant dude, thank you very much for the follow. Don't know how far along you are, hope you're doing well. Hey Larry Cake, how you doing tonight? Alright, we'll see you in a minute, Ormy. Following the news, Poland's climate ministry said the country's energy supplies were secure. Climate Minister Anna Moskwa said there was no need to draw gas from reserves and gas to customers would not be cut out. Poland's deputy foreign minister, Marcin Przyzdech, said his country has been preparing for the possibility Russia might limit gas exports by diversifying its supplies. I'm pretty sure that we will manage to handle this, he told BBC. He added that the suspension proved Moscow was not a reliable partner in any kind of business and urged other European nations like Germany to support a ban on Russian energy imports. Poland was already planning to stop importing Russian gas by the end of the year when its long-term supply contract with Gazprom expires. PGNiG said its underground gas storage was almost 80% full, and with summer approaching, demand was lower. Poland also has alternative supply sources, including a liquefied natural gas terminal in Swinoujscie, I think I'm saying that right. On May 1st, a new gas pipeline connection with Lithuania is also due to open that will give Poland access to gas from Lithuania's LNG terminal. And a new pipeline delivering gas from Norway, known as the Baltic Pipe, comes online in October. It should reach full capacity by the end of the year and could replace all Russian deliveries. There it is. There it is. People act like they can just stop the supply without destroying their economy, without finding a source, negotiating with another partner for imports. Well, that's exactly what they did. They were planning for it, it looks like. That's what it appears to me, that Poland was already knew that this was in the works. Yeah, Germany, it's going to take them a minute. They're going to be kind of fucked for a minute. I don't think they can just jump into that just yet. They've got a lot of stuff to deal with as far as their energy consumption is concerned. The gas supply cut does not mean Poland will immediately be unable to meet customer demand. In recent years, Poland has reduced its dependence on Russian gas, and it now buys LNG from Qatar, and pipelines connect the country to the European market. Plus, the winter heating season is over, so demand is lower. But Gazprom supplies more than half of all Poland's gas imports. That's a big hole to fill. And Poland is not the only EU country now seeking to stop buying Russian energy. There's a lot of competition on an already tight gas supply market. When the heating season starts again in the autumn and demand rises, Poland could face a tricky few months securing enough supply. And if it does so, it may have to restrict supplies to large industrial users. Supplies from Russia account for about 40% of the EU's natural gas imports. However, many countries have pledged to move away from Russian energy in response to its invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. has declared a complete ban on Russian oil, gas, and coal imports. Meanwhile, the UK is to phase out Russian oil by the end of the year, with gas to follow as soon as possible. And the EU is reducing gas imports by 2/3. So, I don't know. I think Poland was ready for it. Bulgaria, not so much. Bulgaria sounds like they're going to have some issues there. But if they can get over that hump, I think they'll do just fine. Where were we on the Mark Meadows thing? A new court filing also reveals how Perry played a key role in strategizing with Trump allies about throwing out electoral votes in states Trump lost. In testimony released on Friday, former Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson told House investigators about Perry's role in White House strategy sessions. Mr. Perry is one that immediately jumps to mind as me recalling him physically being there and then pushing back. Hutchinson said, describing how the Pennsylvania Republican clashed with Trump's White House counsel over whether the plan for states to submit alternate state electors was legally sound. On November 21st, Meadows also went through Perry in order to get in touch with local lawmakers in his state. Can you send me the number for the speaker and the leader of PA legislature? POTUS wants to chat with them, Meadows wrote to Perry. More than a month later, Perry texted Meadows stressing a need for urgency as January 6th and Biden's inauguration were quickly approaching. Mark just checking in as time continues to count down, 11 days to 1/6 and 25 days to inauguration. We gotta get going, he wrote to Meadows. On 5 occasions, according to the text messages reviewed by CNN, Perry texted Meadows to request the conversation move to the encrypted messaging app Signal or to alert Meadows to a message he sent to the encrypted platform. Such a move could put the exchange out of the committee's reach because Signal does not collect or save user data, making it more difficult to provide that information to outside entities, including law enforcement and congressional investigators, even under subpoena. The committee has previously released a January 5 text message Meadows received from an unidentified member of Congress saying, please check your Signal. CNN has now confirmed that message did come from Perry. So this dude's been jumping at it. Enlisting Justice Department officials. The text also shows that Perry acted as a conduit between Meadows and Justice Department Attorney Jeffrey Clark, a relatively obscure official who emerged as a central figure in Trump's election gambit after the former president nearly named him as acting Attorney General days before the U.S. Capitol riot. The messages draw a direct link between Perry, Clark, and the Trump White House-led effort to enlist the Justice Department to help overturn the election. Starting in late December, after top Justice Department officials refused to intervene in the election process on Trump's behalf, Perry repeatedly pushed Meadows to install Clark in a top position at the department and give him the authority to enforce what needs to be done, the text show. Mark, you should call Jeff. I just got off the phone with him, and he explained to me why the principal deputy won't work, especially with the FBI. They will view it as not having the authority to enforce what needs to be done. Perry texted Meadows on December 26, days before the heated Oval Office meeting where Trump raised the idea of replacing the then acting Attorney General with Clark. I got it. I think I understand. Let me work on the deputy position, Meadows responded. Nearly a week later, Perry texted Meadows again about Clark. Please call me the instant you get off the phone with Jeff, Perry wrote to Meadows on January 2nd, referring to Clark. In January 2021, Perry admitted to being the link between Trump and Clark. Throughout the past 4 years, I worked with Assistant Attorney General Clark on various legislative matters. When President Trump asked if I would make an introduction, I obliged. Perry said in a statement to a local Pennsylvania outlet in January 2021. Perry's role in the pressure campaign against Justice Department officials in December 2020 was detailed in a Senate Judiciary report released last year. But the report also acknowledged that its findings were incomplete, listing Perry as one of 3 Trump allies whose connections to January 6 required further investigation by the House Select Panel. The committee has asked Perry to talk with them voluntarily, but Perry has so far refused. I stand with immense respect for our Constitution, the rule of law, and the Americans I represent, who know that this entity is illegitimate and not duly constituted. under the rules of the U.S. House of Representatives, Perry wrote in a statement on Twitter declining the panel's request in December. California Rep. Zoe Lofgren, a Democratic member of the committee that's investigating the insurrection, told CNN they have not ruled out issuing subpoenas to lawmakers, including Perry. Lofgren noted that because Perry swore to uphold the Constitution as a member of Congress, he's legally obliged to talk to the committee. We could do a variety of things to try to compel, but the main thing is he should come in and not try and hide the truth, Lofgren said. We need to get to the bottom of this to protect our Constitution and system of government. Let's go. I'm with it. I love Zoe Lofgren. I think she's a total spitfire. She's badass. But yeah, these clowns need to be brought before justice. There's no question to me about that. They broke the fucking law, dude. Bottom line. They incited an insurrection. They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing. People keep wanting to play them like they're stupid. They're not stupid. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing.
We begin with the war in Ukraine. This morning, the Secretary of Defense is meeting with top officials from around the world on how to help Ukraine in its fight against Putin's forces, as Russia's foreign minister warns about the risk of nuclear war. Marcus Moore starts us off in Kyiv. Good morning, Marcus.
Well, George, good morning. We are witnessing the cultural landscape of Kyiv change before our eyes. This bronze statue you see behind me has stood since 1982 and was meant to represent friendship between Russia and Ukraine. It's being taken down today in response to this war as world leaders meet to discuss more help for Ukraine.
Overnight, officials from more than 20 countries convening in Germany to discuss how to support Ukraine in its fight against Russia.
You know, Putin never imagined that the world would rally behind Ukraine so swiftly and surely.
This comes as Russia's foreign minister, in an interview with state media, warned this conflict could escalate to World War III, with it bringing the potential for nuclear war. He says the risks are substantial. Wouldn't like these risks to be artificially inflated. The danger is serious, it is real, it cannot be underestimated. The Ukrainian foreign minister responding, Russia losing its last hope to scare the world off of supporting Ukraine, thus the talk of a real danger of World War III. This only means Moscow senses defeat in Ukraine. President Zelensky saying the fate of Europe, the fate of global security, the fate of the democratic system is being decided. In western and central Ukraine, Russia striking at least 5 railway stations and fuel sites. Authorities believe the Russians were trying to disrupt Ukrainian supplies heading east. To the southeast in Mariupol, Ukrainian fighters holding on at the besieged Azovstal steel plant. This video, shared by Russian state-affiliated media, shows a Russian vehicle firing explosives near the plant. Though the date the video was taken is unknown. The rest of the city is in ruins. After weeks of bombardments, Nina is in the city with her daughter. She says, we have lost everything, absolutely everything, all we've worked for. And as the Russian offensive escalates throughout the country, the British Defense Ministry assessing the Russians have taken massive casualties over the course of this war, with around 15,000 soldiers killed in action.
The UN General Secretary is expected to meet with Vladimir Putin today in Moscow before coming here to Ukraine. World leaders are still leaving the door open to diplomacy as this war reaches 62 days. Meanwhile, here in Kyiv, in addition to removing the statue, there are plans to rename 200 Russian-related streets in response to this war. George.
Okay, Marcus, thanks. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show how...
Yeah. That's some shit. It's rough, man. This whole thing with Ukraine is rough. It's putting a huge burden on everybody, I think. I had some other shit I was going to talk about and I totally drew a blank. Give me just a minute. Let me put my thoughts back together. I'm kind of high. Maybe I need to smoke more weed. Maybe that's the problem. I'm not high enough to remember what it was that I was going to do because I decided to do that when I was high. We could watch How to Make a Bunker in case things get bad, LOL. True, we could. I think I'm going to pour a little more wine real quick. And now that I've set it up so you can see the dab rig on the bottom, I don't have to flip my screens, and you can even see me hit it. Let's go, baby. I could put wine in the student glass and then drink it. Weed smoke infused wine? Sure. Student dabs are awesome dabs. This shit flips your wig back, but it's actually a lot milder than like hitting my little oil can. Student glass hits take a long time because you gotta clear out the thing. You gotta clear out the bubbles. Otherwise, you'll end up with a bunch of stale smoke in there, and the next time you hit it, it's gonna be fucking harsh as hell. That's for you guys. That's a hit for you guys. I told you, man, that Snoop wine is fucking really tasty. I was kind of expecting, like, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I guess I was thinking, you know, a little cheesy. There's a rapper endorsing a wine. What the fuck ever. You know, it's going to be whatever. And I like Snoop Dogg, don't get me wrong. Like, it's just that thing of, like, even if it was, like, some cheesy, like, rock star, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. It's probably going to be dog shit. But it's actually very good. It's really, really tasty. Wine puts me in the mood for another GOT rewatch. For sure. For sure. All right. Whew. Now to Johnny Depp being hilarious in court.
You heard Miss Heard say, "Get off me," right?
No, I did not. Hitting the wall hard based on the
We'll just take a look at the
accusations
next
that she
exhibit, Mr.
brought.
Depp.
I'm sorry, I was talking to her, right?
You had answered my question. We'll take a look at the next exhibit. Thank you.
As long as you're happy, sir.
You didn't want her acting. You wanted to control her career, correct?
Objection, compound.
That's
Hold on,
untrue, and it's a
Mr.
great
Depp,
guess.
sir. All right, yes, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Sorry.
We can, did I read that right?
Yes, Mr. Rottenborn.
You're complaining about her ambition in this text to her.
Is that any good? Is a Dan Aykroyd vodka any good?
I'm realizing
I
that
do
her
like vodka
ambition
a lot.
is far stronger than her supposed feelings for me, yes. It doesn't mean that I actually literally cut my finger off after, at the age of 12, finding the only thing that gave me peace, which is playing the guitar. Very unlikely. Why didn't I start lopping off digits when I was 13?
Now, Miss Heard what?
I dig the idea of the skull glass.
What's the relevance?
When your nerves are
But,
pushed.
sir, if you
Can we approach, Your Honor?
Pardon?
She was trying to get you to stop using drugs. But
She had
let's take a
used
look at
the
what you
same-
say in
She had
this
used
text.
that term before.
In this text, Mr. Depp, you say there were numerous negative news stories about you. You'd agree with that, correct?
Objection, compound.
All right, I'll sustain it to compound.
You want a shot in a cocktail?
Thank you so much.
I mean, because I love Grey Goose on ice. Like Grey Goose on ice with like a
2016.
lime. Just a lime.
It's entitled Johnny Depp.
Shit's good.
Friends and family seriously concerned about him. Here's why.
Yes.
Correct.
How did they know?
The next article from May 1st, 2017, before Miss Heard filed says Johnny Depp reportedly drank heavily and was constantly late on the new Pirates movie set. Did I read that right?
You did, reportedly.
The next
These are
article,
all hit
also
pieces.
from May
These
10th,
are drags,
2017.
sir.
Mr.
This is a
Depp,
pathetic attempt.
Mr. Depp, please just respond to the question that I'm asking you.
What's your
The
question,
next question,
Mr. Rottenborn?
the next
Sheep
the
lemon
next
vodka
document
with juice and
is
seltzer.
entitled
I
Johnny
love
Depp's
vodka cranberry
financial
juice.
woes might
Vodka
sink
and
the
cranberry
next Pirates of the Caribbean.
Vodka and cranberry or vodka and like Clamato, like Bloody Marys. Oh, I'll get down on some Bloody Marys. I will fucking get down. I'll put the whole fucking kitchen in a Bloody Mary, dude. Like, I'm one of those. I'm like, this needs this and that, a little bit of that. Mine are always super spicy, though. Super, super spicy. And I like putting bacon in them. Orange peach mango. Ooh, that sounds really good. I like mango juice a lot. Mango juice is fucking tasty as hell.
Did I read that right?
You did. I don't know.
The
how
next
my
article,
financial woes would do
May
that.
25th, 2007. Johnny Depp's star power looks as wobbly as Jack Sparrow on a plank. Did I read that right?
You read that very, very well.
The next one, Hollywood Reporter, May 27th, 2000. Did I read that
Allegedly,
correctly?
reports say, this is hearsay. is
June
it not?
21st, 2018, 6 months before the.
This is hearsay, is it not? Your favorite word?
Did I read that right?
When they had him the other day, like, it was fucking horrible. Like, every time he went to say something, they were like, hearsay. Objection, hearsay. Like, seriously, every fucking time that he went to say something, he's like, oh, I guess that's hearsay, huh? It was so fucking funny, man. He's actually pretty entertaining on the stand.
You did. You should read the article. It's
And the
wonderful.
last one, June 22nd, 2018. The day Alison Boshoff reveals why Hollywood's reeling over what's being called Johnny Depp's career note. Did I read that correctly?
You did. Who's Alison Boshoff and how does she know?
Mr. Depp, you can't name
Oh, it
a
won't
single
answer this.
actress. No further questions.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we go ahead and take our morning recess for 15 minutes?
You can't name a single
Someday
actress?
was the The number 3.
Objection, hearsay.
I don't know yet. I'll overrule it at this point.
Thank
May I continue, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just basically said in the...
Objection, hearsay.
Your
What
Honor,
Sean Bailey said.
this is about him
It's in
learning about this.
article.
It's not for the truth.
It is the truth. She's
If
asking.
you want to approach.
He can't even say what he wants to
Please explain
say.
to the jury who Sean Bailey is. I think you were starting to.
Yes, I'll try again. Sean Bailey was quoted as saying that...
Objection, hearsay.
Mr. Depp, where was Sean Bailey quoted, without getting into what he was quoted as saying?
I don't know who did the interview with him.
Objection, lack of foundation.
I'll overrule the objection. Okay.
Thick thighs satisfy. How are you tonight?
Had been approached to take part in writing
Objection,
pirates.
hearsay.
Thanks for joining in with us. We gotta give a
Last week,
shout out
Mr.
because you're
Rottenborn-
dropping in chatting. We do believe that thick thighs save lives around here. We do believe that. We definitely do.
It's hot.
Asked you about a quote where you said you wouldn't come back to the Pirates franchise for $300 million and a million alpacas. Do you remember that?
I do.
What? Do you recall when specifically you made that statement about the?
Yeah, we're just watching the outtakes, like the funny outtakes from his trial most recently, because dude's kind of funny on the stand. Like he's kind of funny. Like I know it's supposed to be super serious, and it is a serious issue, but like he's fucking great. I don't know. I kind of dig his vibe up there. It's funny as shit.
$300 million and the 100 alpacas.
Objection, I asked the answer.
Overruled.
Mr. Depp, do you recognize this document?
I've always said I just want the truth to come out about everything. Like I'm not really like super team Depp or super team Amber Heard. I mean, it seems to me, from what I've seen, from what's been shown to me, that she is definitely like worse for the wear out of the two of them in terms of like who was doing the bad shit. But I don't know. You could find out at the end of this that it was him. I'm just thinking like it doesn't seem like it to me. But again, you know, this is why I, just watch and wait for the truth to come out. And let that be the reason, Yeah, only thing is if this case were to be heard by the Honorable Judge Steve Harvey, that'd be fucking excellent. But what about Judge Judy? I could go for that too.
As soon as my eyes go on, I hopefully will. Oh, there it goes. Oh, I'm so pathetic when it comes to knowing what movies I've done. I'm sorry. I just, I don't watch them. I feel better not watching them. I couldn't, what was the question again?
How many?
I have order in the court, or I will have you removed. Understood?
How would you describe Mr. Bettany's relationship with Miss Heard while you and Miss Heard were together?
Abominable.
I believe this is another text message with Mr. Bettany.
They did hate each other, dude. Like the messages between Paul Bettany. Paul Bettany, by the way, is Vision in the Marvel universe. But the text messages between him and Paul Bettany are fucking hilarious. They're horrible, but like, if you can see it as dark humor and not actually like wanting to do ill, which I think it was just fucking people with a very dark sense of humor, then you could laugh at it. But yeah, I don't know. Mandatorily tough crowd, yeah.
That you were shown on your cross-examination.
And when he came home from school...
Your Honor, I'm just going to object on relevance. question was, who was this about?
We can move on.
Okay.
Mr. Depp, what if any portion of this email exchange is literally true?
We're all set to leave here at approximately 1:30 p.m. Hope you rested well. I believe there's also a napkin down there where
Objection,
someone...
Your Honor, lack
what?
of foundation. He's referring to exhibits that aren't in evidence.
All right,
I have no idea whether they even exist.
I'll sustain the objection now. Next question.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Oh,
Next.
okay.
You asked the
Injury to his
question.
finger.
One of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Oh,
Next.
okay. You said he sustained an injury.
So good. Oh, there's another one? All right, we got to watch the other one. You guys good for it?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Let me ask you a different question, Mr. Depp.
Yes. Let's let him object to another one. Had a conversation with Ms. Heard.
Hearsay.
Let's move beyond the conversation.
Could you imagine having to fucking go through this shit?
Yes, they had. Okay. It appears that Ms. Heard had told
Hearsay, Your Honor.
she would like for him to cook. That's hearsay, I guess.
I'm not if it's sheriff's offer for the truth of the matter is certain.
He got it.
Okay, all right, well then.
I'm learning. Ms. Heard that
I'll move to strike this as hearsay, Your Honor.
disturbing. Yes, I looked at papers. They're hearsay papers.
Maybe they're hearsay papers.
Someone's article, but not from the man's mouth.
It's a pretty simple yes or no question.
I love that. Maybe they're hearsay papers. Y'all ever get hearsay papers? Hate it when I get those damn hearsay papers.
Which is
You'd like
other
it to be, sir.
others-
Nothing simple in this case.
Other-
October is 2 months before December. That's correct.
the document that you signed as part of your divorce proceedings, correct?
That's my signature indeed, yeah.
That is your signature on the right, correct?
Yes, it is.
This is the document you signed, right?
Yeah, for real, Thick Thighs, man's like I've been through years of this crap and torment, but in the end, I'll do what I do best, make people smile. He so does, dude. Oh man, like I really do hope it doesn't come out like a Kevin Spacey type shit. I hope he actually is one of the good ones because he seems like it. But you never can tell, man. Like I just hope he is. I really do. We need more like good ones that are stylistically like Johnny Depp. I think he's fucking cool cat.
For the third time, that is my signature, yes.
And that was a document you signed in August of 2016. Correct?
Is that the same one that I signed 3 times?
Prefer heresy papers, hail Satan.
I wanted to make
Or as
clear
we
that
say
you
over in
signed
Talworks' chat, hail Satan.
Correct.
Again.
Okay. So
Talworks, one of the homies. If you guys don't follow him,
We're
you should check him
drinking
out.
pretty
He's
Were you
fun.
there? Very ugly situation with Amber. So
Mr.
I
Depp,
doubled up
with
the,
respect, trying to respect the court's time and the jury's time, that was not my question. My question was
I
simply,
understand. When you
would
take 5
agree,
minutes to look for a
you would agree,
document.
you would agree that on
Hey guys, I'm gonna do something really cool. Watch this shit.
Exhibit
Just
5.
you can watch that, but you'll see it in my
500,
little
Defense Exhibit 5.
this screen down here. Watch.
Yes, I'd like to see who I lied to.
Sometimes drink whiskey in the mornings too, right?
Isn't happy hour anytime?
Maybe you carry
Is it
cocaine in
happy
that
hour
box.
anytime? Yes.
No, but it looks like it would fit some cocaine. I once gave Marilyn Manson a pill so that he would
I watched that shit.
stop talking so much. You did.
Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Okay. Did I read that right?
Yes, you did.
Did I read that right?
You continue to read them right, yes.
Right after you cut your finger off, or right after, I won't give you anything to argue with me yet. right after you sustained an injury to your finger, right after you sustained an injury to your finger, poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint?
Yeah. Fast forward in time a little bit, Mr. Depp.
Yes, I can feel it.
I have other uses for your throat which do not include injury. I have other uses for your throat which do not include injury.
Sorry, could you read that again?
Oh, you checked out Talarix yesterday, Max Matty B? He's so fun. I love all his stuff on like cults and shit.
Or even on the test alone.
Oh yeah, this one was good. Vladimir Putin. Yeah, Putin. Awesome. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that shit. Let's give you some love. So, Thick Thighs Satisfy says, I know Depp is in the clear and deserves to be, but what's with viral court trials and incompetent lawyers? You got Amber Heard's lawyer and then the guy in the Rittenhouse trial. Yeah, no shit, dude. Like, these lawyers are fucking morons. They shouldn't be given a platform. This is exactly how you don't do law. Yeah, folks better follow Talarix so you'll make Jehovah sad. You know what? Fuck, I'm gonna give him a shout out. Talarix is like a really cool streamer, and I dig his style and what he does, and yeah, I like his whole like way he does dabs and shit, and has his music that comes on and plays and shit. It's fucking dope. Oh. Oh shit, I totally typoed it. You're right. Thanks for catching that. Literally probably the most important trials for most of the people in the courtroom, and they have complete clowns battling in it. Yeah, exactly. Like, where the fuck did they get these attorneys from, and how did they like come to determine that these are actually good attorneys? You know, what the fuck? Guys, we're almost to 700 followers. I can't believe that shit. That's all you guys. That's all you guys showing love. I appreciate that. I really do. Makes a big difference when I see that, when you guys enjoy the content. Content. Gives me more esteem to pursue law degree myself, these attorneys do. Yeah. Immortal Phoenix, hey man, first time chatter up in here, and we've talked many times. We've played Jackbox together. How are you? I'm drinking some wine. I've been hitting my little, if you see the little screen down at the bottom, that's my little Stunden glass. I've been hitting that. Oh, I gotta pull it back out. I just did a hit and put it in my wine glass and hit it out of my wine glass. Oh, you do look a lot here. Holy shit. Just resting. Nice.
And then milk.
No matcha.
And milk. And then milk.
That was huge. Glad to see you chatting, though. Hells yeah. So I've already done a bunch of new stuff super early. I'm gonna do one more. Elon Musk is buying Twitter for $44 million. $1 billion, apologies. Billion with a B. So the long and short of it is, scrutiny is going to be really intense. There are some traders who are drawn to Twitter stock after it agreed to go private. Conservatives are definitely celebrating on Twitter. As you know, most progressives are cringing. But so basically it breaks out like this. Elon Musk's deal for Twitter includes $1 billion breakup fee. If the $44 billion deal between Elon Musk and Twitter falls apart, either side may have to pay the other $1 billion, according to the securities filing on Tuesday. The world's richest man struck a deal on Monday to buy the social media company for $54.20 a share. Mr. Musk, who also leads the electric car maker Tesla and the rocket maker SpaceX, has said he plans to take Twitter private and that he wants to improve the product and promote free speech on the platform. The deal is not set to close for another 3 to 6 months, Twitter told its employees on Monday. According to Tuesday's filing, Twitter would have to pay Mr. Musk in certain circumstances if the deal goes awry. That would include if the social media company signed a deal with another suitor whose offer it deems superior. Mr. Musk, for his part, would have to pay if his financing for the deal falls apart. Twitter declined to comment. Mr. Musk did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Mr. Musk's financing has played a key role in the deal's intrigue. He initially did not appear to have any funding lined up for his bid, but last week he revealed in a filing that he had commitments for loans from various banks. Mr. Musk is paying with $13 billion in bank loans plus another $12.5 billion in loans against his stock in Tesla. He has pledged another $21 billion in cash, though he has not outlined the source of that money. Oh, let me pause right here for a second. Yeah, Twitter had to take his offer. We were discussing it in business circles. It would have been irresponsible if they turned it down. He gives such a premium on the price, way overpaid. Musk is taking it private so he can make controversial moves without threatening the bottom line. Also, he wants to do a subscription model to get rid of ads. But most people don't like paying for social media. We'll see if he changes his mind on that. Yeah, I could see that all as a possibility. I could definitely see there being a worry about, what he would make off of it if he makes those changes, because he could scare people off. Anytime you subscription model, like I think that killed MySpace. Actually, they were starting to go to a subscription model, and that killed MySpace off. Yeah, he is an idiot for paying that much for Twitter. I agree with you, Immortal Phoenix. But people will do things for like vanity's sake, and that's the silly part. It's like, it's wasteful. And I don't know how much I trust him owning a social media company with his reluctance to allow workers to organize, because Twitter is a resource that like people use to organize, and I think that it would be thwarted. And if that's the case, you're going to lose the people that actually engage on there. Oh, he's an anti-vaxxer? Oh no, he's not smoking off a student glass. He must not be that smart. Oh, that was a good hit. No, I'm hitting my if you look in the bottom underneath me, that's my Stunden glass. It's my bong. And I was just hitting that. See? Yeah, and I think it is about vanity. Listen, I think that smart people can do stupid things in the name of egotistic drive. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to mean Greta influence? Unfamiliar. The name is Kendall. I smoke weed and drink wine and talk about leftist politics and shit. Yeah, come on in. We can talk. Just go in the waiting room. Oh, all right, you're already there. Sweet. We're gonna go to the blazing room because I might get blazed while we talk. I'll be right there. Hey, what's up, Immortal Phoenix?
Hey, Jason. Yeah, man, I think your vanity point is on point. But man, dude, he paid so much for his vanity. It's shocking.
Yeah, it's very surprising that he would go to those lengths. But that's the thing. I think when you have the money to waste, you'll just do it. You'll gamble shit like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, when you've gotten away with so much, right? Like, remember the SEC lawsuits and stuff? Maybe at a certain point you think you're like untouchable, right?
Yeah, and that he also had a bunch of trouble with the NLRB as well, over his anti-union tactics and shit with Tesla.
Keeps winning. Dude, he keeps winning. So I feel like maybe if I was him and I was winning every battle, like it's, I mean, he's his stock. Did you hear did you read the article about Microsoft and his stock?
No, I didn't. What happened with that?
So he found out, so some drums for you. He found out that Bill Gates had one of the largest shorts on Tesla that anyone has in the world. It's supposed to be like $100 or $200 million. A crazy short. He asked Bill if he still had that short, and Bill told him yes. The texts where that conversation happened got leaked, and then Elon admitted on Twitter that those texts were real. And everyone's like, "Ooh, Bill Gates going after Tesla."
Bill Gates shorted Tesla. Oh, snap.
He's still shorting it, which means he's putting in more and more money because he has to cover his shorts. Because he still thinks it's going to fall. So every day he's losing tens of thousands of dollars to short Tesla.
I think Tesla is going to fall, though. I think it's going to be like another DeLorean. You know?
I do too, dude. But like the timing is terrible because a year ago, if I had shorted Tesla, I would have lost like all my money. But Bill Gates is so rich, he doesn't have to worry about the time like you and me.
Yeah, like he can let that go by, you know, and then he'll get that back in the end.
Yeah, because like, have you seen how much it is worth? It's like hundreds of multiples of what it actually makes.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's so if you
how is its worth so inflated? Like, how is its worth so inflated? Because there's other companies, like major car companies, that are getting into the electric car game and doing very well, doing just as well as Tesla, if not better in some cases, and for more reasonable prices. You know,
how is it doing it? Because Tesla has a cult, kind of like Apple, and that cult will push his stock up. Like, did you see what they did with Dogecoin, right?
Oh, he did drive Dogecoin. That's right. You're absolutely correct about that. Everybody went in on that because of him.
If you want to share with chat, I just sent a private message in Discord to you. Their PE, so their price of the stock to their earnings, it's 118, and any company like over 30 or 40 is getting a huge multiple. Like, oh, there's got to be something good here, right? Under 20, okay, that's a good value. 118 is like absurd. So let's just look up Microsoft's PE as an example. Microsoft's worth a lot. So Microsoft's PE is 28, which means if it were to be Tesla level, Microsoft's stock would have to be 5 times bigger.
Jesus Christ.
And Microsoft is like, I think, like the third largest.
How the fuck is it pulling that off? How are they pulling that off, dude? Like, there's got to be some fucking market manipulation or something. What the fuck, dude?
I just think it's his there are so many Elon loyalists. Like, he's got like a cult, man. He just does.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's like, yeah. And it's a weird demographic, too, because he's got people from kind of a lot of different places that really, like, are up his ass. You know what I mean? Like, that are all about him. Because I know people from the right and, like, libertarian people that really like him. I know people, like, on the left, or that claim to be left, or libbies, you know, that really like him too, and I'm like, dude, what are you guys missing? You know,
Dude,
like,
he's
what are you guys
people.
missing that I'm seeing? You know, like,
Dude, his hyping has actual tangible effects because I have a acquaintance. I wouldn't say friend, but I've known him for a few years, and he went to get a job. I told him not to at Virgin Hyperloop, and I was like, dude, this whole Hyperloop stuff is just overflated. Like, it's not safe. It's too expensive. Like, don't do it. Right? He did it, and then Virgin Hyperloop essentially goes under. So he luckily found another job at Virgin Galactic, but a lot of the people he worked with they don't have unlimited spots. They just got fired, right? So he lucked out. He's now at Virgin Galactic, but a lot of his friends who were at Virgin Hyperloop, they're gone, and they have no job, and they don't know where to go. That was all Elon.
yep, because he's a shit weasel. That's why. He's a fucking walking shit weasel. And that's what he does. And see, like, everybody, here's my problem with Elon Musk, is everybody thinks that he's this genius that created all this shit. He didn't create PayPal, he bought PayPal. He didn't create Tesla, he bought Tesla. And changed the name, I believe. Most of the stuff he didn't create. He's not a creator. He's just somebody that buys shit because his daddy had an emerald mine and benefited from apartheid era fucking South Africa. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, let's be real about it, you know? That's where his fucking money comes from. You know? So, I don't think he's necessarily a genius. He used a lot of government subsidies, which he doesn't feel like he's responsible to pay back in taxes, you know, in order to achieve his aims. And the kicker of it is the money that was used from his family to pay for any of it was fucking slave money. That's fucking horrible.
Blood money, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, people just like there's a lot of rich or famous or powerful people out there, but people don't understand the level of wealth some people have that they haven't, you know, like me and you haven't been born with. So life is just so much easier. Like, I know a person who has a trust fund. He will never need to struggle for anything. He's got $1 million just sitting there. His family was smart. They won't allow him, the way they structured it, to pull the money out. But the guy gets like checks every single month. Like he
He gets draws. Yeah, they give him draws every month, or it's kind of like an allowance, basically, right?
Yeah. The downside is, so he's in his 30s. When he turns 40, I think he gets all of it. I'm a little scared because he's a bad spender that he's gonna like burn it all. But I mean, whatever. When it gets all his, hopefully he doesn't ruin it.
Well, if they pace out how much they're giving him at a time over a long enough period, then it won't matter. You know, it'll be like, well, you only got this much, so you know if you blow it, you know that's all you're gonna have. You know, it's like, so there's kind of damage control built in that way, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's good that they've at least protected him up until 40. If it wasn't for that, I think in his 20s he would have blowed it. So it's good that they structured it that way.
I've heard a lot of weird stuff, like people do stuff like that where like, well, you know, when you get married, then you can have like a lump sum and then you get, you know, whatever else. Like people do crazy shit with trusts like that. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, could you imagine not being able to get a trust until you get married? What if like you never want to get married? What if marriage is like the worst possible concept for you? And it's like, but that's the only way you get paid. You know, do you just get married for the fuck of it? Just to be like, all right, I want the check, you know, like, fuck it, you know, like, and just tell the person you're marrying, hey, this is a business arrangement. I'll cut you in 10%, you know, like, how do you work that, you know, like.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, like, I got to do this. Like, this is $10 million online. Do you know about In-N-Out?
No.
So in California, it's like a big
the burger place, right? The
so
Christian burger place, like, they put the Bible verses on the fries and shit.
Basically,
under the cups.
They do stuff like that because they're family owned, and the daughter who inherited it all, I think she did it in slow chunks. So like at 20 she got some, 25 I think she got like all of it like 28, and it was probably like one of the biggest inheritances in the world. It was like tens of billions of dollars.
No shit.
She didn't have security for like years, and she was like, oh, I just want to be a normal person, like just like you, Jason, just like me. Right. And she almost got abducted, and then she's like, all right, I'm not normal.
Oh, fuck, yeah, no shit, huh? Like the Lindbergh baby and shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly. She was trying to be normal. I'm like, lady, you're not normal. Like, this whole company, you're a majority shareholder. You could fire everyone in the board.
Yeah, no shit. Just fucking kill it. You know who I think is dope as far as like an heiress for a big company like that is the heiress of Disney.
Oh, there's
the daughter.
I didn't know that.
The daughter. The daughter is fucking so anti like so much of the shit Disney does and like how they treat their workers and shit. Like, and the pricing on all their stuff and you know how exclusive everything is for Disney. She thinks it's fucking horrible. Like, she goes in hard, man. Like, she's actually like very, very like lefty progressive and, you know, very much about redistributing wealth. And like, it's like, whoa, like really? Like this lady that's like rich is really about this shit, dude. Like she's like all gung ho. I'm like, well, start by, you know, funding union drive efforts all over the country. You could do that, lady, you know?
It is kind of shameful. Disney's so rich. Like, why don't they pay their employees more? Like, they have the money.
The actors get paid shit. I know that. They're required to do a lot of work, and it's very, like, arduous. I'm not talking about, like the TV shows. I'm talking about, like, at the parks. Those actors, like, it's hard fucking work, and they're out in the sun in these fucking elaborate costumes, sweating their asses off. Because SoCal isn't fucking cool. Like, it's hot. Like,
yeah,
it gets into up over 100 degrees in the summertime. You know, it's all asphalt out there. You know, it's absorbing all that fucking heat. You know, so yeah, and they're out there like costumed, makeuped up, and you know, having to do all the dances and shit. And I mean, they're getting paid like fucking California minimum wage and shit. You know, like no shit. You know, and some of these people are Juilliard trained actors and actresses.
I don't get it because I get if it's like a smaller company, but Disney's so big, they could easily double all their pay and still make bank. So I don't know what the onus is on them. Like the stock market already treats them favorably. So besides just greed, like why the hell do they have to like piss on their employees like that? I don't get it.
It's because they can, and they're going to. Her name is Abigail Disney, by the way.
I think I read an article about her. Yeah, she was like, I don't like how you guys are treating your employees, and like you were saying, I don't know. It's just it's frustrating. I think Bernie called out Disney too, and we should probably keep doing it.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not mad at the movements they've made in their movies to try to make more inclusive movies, in terms of like bringing in different races and bringing in the LGBTQIA community, because that was a thing for a long time. It wasn't really there, and they're slowly integrating it, and I praise them for integrating that. But I also understand that the reason that they're integrating that shit is because it is a profit line that they're looking at. They know that the demographics of who's going to be interested in Disney movies, because of the diversity of families now, with same-sex parents and stuff like that, they have to move the needle. Otherwise, they're not going to get paid. And so even though they're doing something that seems virtuous, it is virtuous, on some level, underneath it all, it's still just so they profit,
Yeah, we have that with our industries and biotech. The companies that aren't allowing work from home, their workers are less productive. And so when the numbers come out at the stock market, revenue numbers, all the key performance indicators, the companies who are like, oh no, we want you to all be in office, none of you can work from home, they all do worse than the companies that let you do work from home. So it's not like the companies are being nice. Just like you said, like their bottom line is better off if they let employees work from home, 2, 3, sometimes 4 days a week.
Yeah, so it's like that's where more of my job is at. Since, well, my position specifically, we had a branch here in Arizona, and so I had office space in Arizona, and it was cool. I could go into the office if I wanted to, like if I wanted to participate in more community type stuff that was happening around the holidays, or like when we had big incentive pushes or stuff like that, team go rah rah, that kind of shit. I could go and be involved, but I was primarily work from home. So it's like I would go into my office space when I wanted to, sure. It was cool. And I did sometimes. Actually, I used to go like at least 2 days a week, because I felt like I needed to like keep myself around other people, because I was a single dad raising a kid. So it's like my whole interactions, if I didn't go into the workplace, would be like me and a 5-year-old, and then me and the computer. And it's like, no, you need to talk to adults. You need to have some adult conversation, So
yeah,
you got to go into the office a couple days a week. So I had it worked out where I go in a couple days and do my thing in office, and then I'd go home and like work from home. And then ultimately, like when COVID hit, basically the company I work for is very, very people's health is very super important to the company. Like they go out of their way to make sure at some of their sites, like I said, I don't want to dox myself, but some of their sites, they have like nurses and doctors on site, like where you can actually go to a full-on you could get a fucking full-on physical. You get your blood work done there on site, everything, like at the facility, like where you work. So it's like that's how they kind of treated people's health. So when COVID hit, they're like, yeah, everybody's going home, like no question. We're following CDC to a T, like no matter what, you guys are not going to be in the office. They were actually, I think, one of the first companies out of me and like all my friends and people that I knew of, where like it was like, nope, you guys are permanently, and sent everybody at our offices all across the country. Like everybody was sent home, even if you were like supposed to be in the office doing your job. Nope, not anymore.
And think about how many lives they saved doing that. Like there's so many people living today because people made those decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of those things that that company values so much, and they're just like, And they're cool about other stuff too. Like if you're having mental health issues and you need breaks, and you just need extra time off to deal with the shit. Like they don't even sweat you for it, like sometimes they won't even use like your PTO time, or because you get, like in Arizona, you get mandatory paid sick leave, and they won't even use your mandatory paid sick leave. They'll just be like, well, so what, whatever, go, like there's nothing going on anywhere, just go take those few hours, go take that day, we're slow as fuck, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm with a good company too, where people will just literally text, like in our group, will be like, hey, I just gotta go get some groceries, with the wife or just on my own.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be out for a couple hours, and it's like no PTO, no nothing. Like it sounds like you're with a really good company.
Yeah, and I mean it's true. I am salaried, so that's a part of it. I'm gonna get paid what I get paid either way during the busy season. But like the thing is, our busy season is like 4 months out of the year. So it's like when
it's worth it.
Yeah, when it's busy, it's like okay, we hustle and bustle. I'm going to put in extra hours. But it's the busy season that also pays me my bonus, so it's like that's cool, I'll do the hustle and bustle because I'm on the I do IT type stuff, you know what I mean? But if I keep the people that I'm supporting up and running, and they're able to make money for the company because I'm supporting them properly, I get paid out a shit ton. You know what I'm saying?
That bonus, Jason, is so nice. Like I started getting them a handful of years ago. And I'm like addicted. I don't think I can go to a job now that doesn't give a bonus. In March it hits. Yep. And then that extra bit of money, just like it's so nice for your savings. I don't know. I really like it.
Give me that little March bonus. That's a little yummy. I'm good.
The tax is crazy though. Like I pay like 40% tax on my bonus.
Same. It does suck. The taxation on that sucks. I think if you make less than $100,000 a year, your bonuses shouldn't be taxed any more than your regular payroll tax should be, because that's basically a part of your salary. It's just the part of salary you have to work extra hard for. What the fuck.
In a lot of European countries, in December they get a 13th month paycheck, right? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, they all get paid like it's just like an extra paycheck at the end of December, right? Like it's for the whole month.
There's an American who asked one time, they were like talking to a journalist, and they're like, "Hey, I saw this in my paycheck. Like, why is this here?" And then the boss was like, "What do you mean? Like, well, this payment, like I didn't work this." And they're like, "Yeah, but aren't you going on vacation?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Don't you need money to go on vacation?" He's like, "I do." He's like, "That's what that's for." He's like, "You paid me so I could have money to spend on my vacation?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
It's like, it's so abnormal for us Americans to even think that way.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I've worked for a lot of big companies, and like a lot of big companies, they have taken care of me in a lot of ways, but then in other ways they fell really flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like this one just kind of like pulled it all together, and they like gave me all the goodness, and it's like, thank you, this is nice, and I think the other thing, I work on a very, very small team with very few people, and I think that makes a big difference because it's like you get to know people very well, and you can understand their personalities and like what kind of sense of humor is and shit they have, and I'm somebody that relates to people like through humor. It's always going to be like some like either kind of crass or off-putting joke or some fucked up wordplay or some shit like that, and that's how I like try to relate to people. If I do that, then it's like, yeah, like I think that person's cool. I want to like talk to him, so I'll fuck with that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My brother's like that too, and I hate it when there's people at like jobs and they're like, "Why are you being so like laid back?" It's like, well, because I want to make people laugh, I want people happy. My brother, like, he lights up our whole family with his humor and stuff. Like, I hate it when companies try to like silence that. You know what I mean? It just ruins everything.
Yeah, no. Any company that wants to put that shit on the back burner, they really don't care about their employees, because even if that guy that's like kind of the jokester on the team, if they're meeting their metrics, then you want them on the team because they're going to make everybody else happy. Like, they light up the room, even if they're being a little snarky and shit sometimes. I was a manager, you know, like I was really good at management because I could read my employees. At several of the companies I worked for, like, the one thing I was known for is, like, my employees or the people that come onto my team knew me as the elevator because you'd get promoted if you were on my team. That's just how it was. Like, I just knew how to pull people out, how to pick their talents out, how to kind of like sculpt them and mold them and like get them into like what it would take for them to get to where they want to go, and then send them off, you know. And I could advocate for them and do all the things to make that happen. So I got the nickname the Elevator, which I thought was cool.
That is a cool one, but that's not easy to do, Jason. That's tough. We need more people managers that are like that, because a lot of people managers, they're just out for like their next position, and they're not looking out for their report. So that's really cool that you looked out and you helped elevate them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the most important thing because, yeah, it hurt my metrics, you know, and I had months where it was like really hard up, and they were like, well, you're fucking doing horrible. And I was like, yeah, I just took on like 5 new teammates because I just promoted 5 people into better positions. Like, what about that? You know, does that mean anything? You know, like, so that was the thing that I ran into a lot as a manager. Was like, it was always like, you'd have those little bit of lulls where you got somebody that just came in and you haven't had that time to like sit with them yet and build them up. And, you know, it'd be like, in my case, it was always because there were so many people I'd be rolling out and so many people they'd be rolling back in that were like new or problem cases. Like, usually I got a lot of people that were problem cases and I'd turn them around and flip them. So I get a bunch all at once, and like I'd always have those months where it was like, well, your numbers are just horrible. What the hell are you doing? And I'm like, you just gave me the worst of the worst, you guys. Like, come on, like, give me a chance to build them up. Like, let me do my work, you know? And then a couple months down the road, those people would get like spun out, you know, and up into other positions and shit. And they'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't think that person could do that. You know, you're right. They were like pretty good at that. And, you know, you like veered them off in the right position, you know? And I was like, yeah, I know.
I think you probably see the potential in people, but that's a rare trait. Like, I have something similar where there was a teammate that I was having disagreements with, really like passionate, heated discussions. And then like a year later, me and him are like best friends. People were like, man, how did that happen? I was like, well, because like I saw his strengths. I didn't take anything personally. I knew that he was coming from a place of passion. Like, he cared about the company. He wasn't doing it to be malicious. So, we just cultivate our relationship, and he and I are like cool. And he would go like above and beyond to kill for X or Y project, right? But most people, Jason, in that same position, they're like, oh, this guy's an asshole. They cut ties and they give up, right? Like me and you, I don't think we give up on people, which is rare.
Yeah. No, I had managers for that, because that was one specific company that I really, really spent a lot. I spent most of my, I guess it was at 3 different companies. I spent a lot of time in management, but that one seemed to be the one where it was the most organized management anyways. And it just seemed like the more that I was, and you know what's interesting? The more that I was involved in that management and the more that I was able to connect with the employees and understand what their needs were and how to better develop them, the further to the left I went.
Yeah.
Because I realized like how much the company was hosing them. And I was like, you know what? Like, I love being in management because I'm in a place where hopefully I can make a little bit of moves. But I hate the fact that companies are hosing people like this. Like, we need to do better.
Dude, that happened to me, and I had to like let one of my coworkers know. He was a lot older than me. He was like a decade older, and he has like 2 kids, right? And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know if you know this, but like I make like almost like 10K more than you. We're doing the same job. You obviously need the money too. Like, you gotta like talk to them, right? Mm-hmm. And he had some rough conversations with management, and finally, you know, they got him up to the right pay. But ironically, because of that, they like stymied me. So later on, I jumped to another job. But They were
Yeah.
upset that I told him that. But dude, Jason, the guy has 2 freaking kids. He's like 10 years older than me, right? Like he's about to turn 50.
Yeah.
Like what am I gonna do? Just like have that knowledge and just not tell him? And thank God, like, you know, now his kids are more taken care of because of that. So I had to say something. You know?
No, and you did the right thing. And the truth is that like there's a lot of companies out there that'll lie or like manipulate the situation and say you're not allowed to talk about how much you make, you know, with other employees. And
They said, yeah, they said that.
That's bullshit. That's against the law for them to say that, you know.
Yeah, I told that to their face. I was like, hey, I know the law. And I'm like, if you say that to me again, I'll report it. I know that I'm well within my rights to tell my wage to others. But what you guys are paying him is theft. Like, that's not fair. Like, I know you're making money, but the guy has 2 kids. Like, that, like, it takes someone heartless to just even offer that level of pay to someone. You know, like, that was just 10K less than me. And, like, all of my coworkers are making my level or more. I was like, I don't have any kids, right? So that was just heartless in my mind.
Yeah, it is. It is heartless. That's a horrible way to approach it. And I mean, like, so like I worked for one company, right? And I was well, the mother of my child was pregnant with my child, and she also has lupus. And so there was a lot of complications. And I kept having to take time off. And like, so I went to go take FMLA, and the company was like, I started getting the paperwork together and all that to do that. And the company was like, nope, you can't. We'll give you 2 weeks. And we'll give you a reference letter somewhere else, but we're not going to let you go on FMLA. It's either that we'll give you 2 weeks and you can resign, or we can fire you.
That seems super illegal.
I was like, well, fire me, because then I'm just going to go get unemployment and I'm going to get on benefits, and you guys are going to have to pay for it. And they didn't think they were going to. They're a real snarky, shitty company, like, and they ended up having to pay for it.
Well, I mean, what assholes, right? Like, a person about to have, and not only that, like, there's complications, and I don't know, man. Some companies, like, it's beyond me. It's beyond me.
Well, they'll do what it takes for the bottom line. You know, it's all about that dollar bill, y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's all they care about. So, you know, if it means cutting somebody out and cutting corners legally, they'll take the chance on it. Because here's the thing, is they take advantage of the fact that a lot of people are either uneducated on their rights or don't have the money to go and fight for their rights. They don't count on attorneys that will work on contingency. They don't count on stuff like that. And if they did, they wouldn't do the stupid shit they're doing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And those lawyers being able to do that, it helps us out, right? Like, because they know they're going to win that case. They got the ace up their sleeve. So thank God that they're able to kind of balance it. I mean, people speak ill of lawyers, but honestly, sometimes without lawyers, you never get, you know, those scales of justice to balance.
I'll put it like my dad said, because my dad was an attorney. Like, I grew up in law, very much so. And the common refrain is nobody likes a lawyer until they need one, you know?
Yeah, that's true. There's some lawyers doing some real good work for sure. Yeah, no, dude, I can't believe like you were having issue. I mean, I say I can't believe it, but it makes sense. There's like thousands of cases like that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and it's all across the country, you know. Sorry, I have my producer messaging me about something totally unrelated. I apologize.
Oh, no worries.
I actually worked in my dad's law office from the time I was very, very young. From the time I was 10. I started filing docs by the time I was like 12, 13. And saw what abuse looked like child abuse looked like, because you'd have to file photos of like kids that have been hurt and shit.
Oh, dang.
And I saw some fucking really horrific shit, man. I'm gonna tell you, like, because you have to catalog it, and it's got to have like an identifier, you know, like so here exhibit A14 or whatever it is, and you have to have all that, so it's all got to be labeled and cataloged and all that shit. And that's some of that shit's super, super fucking heavy. Well, it's all super heavy because he did family law, so it was all about like dealing with divorces and child abuse and working with CPS and different shits like that. Like it was always like super heavy shit. But I learned about that at a very young age, and it's fucking petrifying.
How did he clear his mind, man? It's how do you because you got to go home, right, and be with the family. I don't know how someone clears their head of that. It must be really tough.
Most lawyers are sex addicts.
They're what?
Sex addicts.
Wait, why?
I don't know. Relieves the stress, I guess. There was a time they had to worry about like taking drug tests and stuff like that. So I think sex was like the easiest outlet,
I mean, I guess, right? Like, 10, 20 minutes, like, boom, done.
Get those endorphins pumping, you're feeling good again, back to normal. No, my dad very much, and not to out some shit, but anybody that knew my dad knew it. Like, he was very much like a Lothario of sorts, he had 5 kids from 5 different women. Like, he didn't have 2 kids with any of the same woman. Like, not a one. like we all had different moms, like, come on. So yeah, that was the thing. I think attorneys otherwise have other vices and shit. Some are alcoholics and shit like that, but
yeah, it's a tough job for sure. But yeah, no, you need how else do you fight back against those cases, right? You definitely need it.
Gotta have an outlet, I ain't altogether upset with them about it because it's kind of like weird. Like I found later on in life, like even my mom kind of had like an understanding of that, and it was kind of like, yeah, well, whatever. I was like, what? Whatever? Whatever?
Maybe okay. she's like moved on from it, but that's surprising she was able to. That's cool.
I was just kind of like, that's all right. What's up, Mom? That's cool.
That's
like I wasn't even mad at it. I was like, it's like I didn't even know how to react. I was just like, kind of like, all right then, all right.
It's like super mature. I think it's kind of. I mean, my mom's kind of like that too. She's like way too forgiving. Like even if you did something wrong, like she's. And later on, it'd be like, oh no, like, or if my siblings were not very nice, but like, no, Mom, like that's not okay. They shouldn't have said that or whatever, right? She's just like, no, I'm cool. Like she was just a super forgiving mom.
Hell yeah, that's dope as hell. That's what you hope to have that, as long as they're not doormats, right? Because then you take advantage of them.
No, my mom definitely, like, the house is hers, but she's just, that's always been good about her. Like everyone tries their best to keep her happy, but if they mess up, like she's quick to forgive.
Hey, Mike, to address your attrition concern, Mike said, I still don't believe it costs corps much to hire new people. Otherwise, they wouldn't want such high attrition. We had fucking massive conversations with corporate attorneys as managers at a certain company that you and I both know very well about how to retain people because of the fact it cost over $30,000 every time we brought somebody in the door. Just to get them through the door through training, through background checks, through everything we had to do. $30,000 a person. $30,000 fucking dollars a person.
Yeah.
So and you got dinged for it every time that somebody got terminated or quit. It was an attrition mark if you're a manager and you got dinged for it, and that cost that that would cost your performance big time. You did not want high attrition. High attrition's bad. It means you're not coaching the employee to be better. They're just failing. You're letting them fail. So yeah.
I think Mike, just like you were saying, like no, it's super expensive at my company as well to get someone, tens of thousands of dollars in some departments. It takes 2 months or more to train them before they're even allowed to work.
Yeah.
My department, if you don't have like a year of experience in clinical trials, like we won't even like touch you. And even if you do, like there's a little bit of a waiting game until they can do the trickier stuff. So yeah, no, it's super expensive to hire. But then to Mike's question of like, well, then why are they just like burning through people? Often it's just like a bad company. I know a company.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
just a shitty company. They're not even caring about that, even though they should be. And a lot of time is they're looking at the fact that, we're going to take a loss this year, and if we're going to take a loss, it's okay. We'll fuck off these employees because rehiring new people and attrition is a loss, and we'll just add that to the losses this year. Give us a tax write-off, and we'll turn around next year and try to do better. But that's basically when they're calling the Hail Mary on how they can save any kind of money possible, and that's how they do it. That's exactly how they do it.
There's a company I know of that grinded so many people that everyone in the area now they have like a reputation. They know to stay away, and they're struggling to keep the lights on. It took like 5 years, Jason. But no, eventually, like if they keep it up, like that's what happens. And there's a super high level VP executive management that they don't live in that area, right? Like they don't know how that branch is run. They're emailing and asking questions like, what the hell is happening? Why can't, like, we are trying to hire, we can't hire in your area. So now they're about to figure out, I think probably sometime this year, like this branch is messed up, and it's probably because of the leadership. I think this year or next, they're going to get rid of everyone in leadership at that branch because they compare the branches to each other, and that branch just can't hire, and they have really toxic leads.
Yeah, that'll kill it. That'll kill it. That will kill it. And everyone thinks like the whole thing is people try to drive numbers. But if you aren't concerned about your people, you're not going to get the numbers any fucking ways. It won't happen. You'll never get them.
Yep, exactly. I mean, you get the numbers with good people, like right? It starts with the people and it ends with the people. So yeah, you're right.
That's why I keep saying that's what moved me further to the left, especially as somebody like that's just even kind of looking from a level of like productivity, right? Like, because I want to see good productivity, right? And I understand what it takes to get good productivity. People have to feel like they're wanted at their jobs. People have to feel like they're compensated fairly, and people have to feel like they're rewarded for going above and beyond when they do. And you know what? Like when companies don't do that on the regular, when they skimp on that shit, or when they use titles as justifications in lieu of actual raises or shit like that, like that's bullshit. That's not helping people. That's not helping the shit grow.
It'll work itself out because I've noticed, like I said, in biotech and other companies, the places that do those things, they're giving the work from home, they're being better. They're just out competing the crappy companies, and then guess what? The free market wins and kicks the crappy companies out, and the good companies end up doing really well. The problem is when it gets to like Disney, who makes so much money. Like I think they have enough money to burn to where they can afford to treat people crappy. But outside of Disney, medium and small companies, they can't keep that going indefinitely.
No, not at all. And they shouldn't be required to compete at that level. but that also means that they have to just be better, you know. And I think there's a way for medium and small size companies to do that, but I think the way that starts is by being able to say, guess what, we don't have to pay for your health care because there's a thing called fucking single payer.
Yeah.
And instead we get to pay you a higher wage, and we get to give you benefits and discounts in the store. You know what I mean?
That's a heavy weight on medium and small companies. Like, if you took that off of their shoulders, they could probably compete with some of the big dogs. And I wouldn't be surprised if some big companies are like wary because they're like, hey, we can afford healthcare. Let's use this heavy weight to keep the mid companies down, you know?